What's up, guys? It's your boy Silent Arrow 676 here, and I am back with another James Townsend and Son reaction. This one apparently was recommended by one of my subscribers. This one is, I believe it's making cheese or something having to do with cheese. So let's sit back. And I actually want to know how. I think this is like an Amish version of making cheese. Like, I think that's what this is about. So let's sit back, watch, and see what happens.
I'm here at Genesee Country Village, a museum. It's a wonderful living history site here in Western New York.
Ooh, New
This
York.
episode today is going to be great. We're making cheese. Thanks for joining us today on 18th Century Cooking.
I don't think that top hat goes with
So
that
I'm
coat.
here today with Deanna Berkemeyer, and she knows cheese. Tell me a little bit about why people are making cheese, especially in a homesteading situation or this kind of situation here in the early 19th century.
Definitely.
Why is cheese important?
Well, cheese is a way to preserve your milk. It's how you take care of that 3 gallons of milk approximately that you're getting between April and November.
Okay.
Really? Only
so
3
you can't
gallons?
drink all of that. You have to preserve it somehow. Another purpose for cheese is it stretches out your meat supply as well. So that's an important thing to do to make it last the whole year round.
I think you'd be getting
And
more
it gives
than
you a
3 gallons
milk-type
between
product to have in the wintertime
those
when your
3
cow
months.
isn't giving milk anymore.
Yes, absolutely.
So, what kind of cheese are we going
Then
to
again,
be
I don't
working
have
on
milking
today?
cows. So I
We
don't know.
are making a farmhouse cheese. It's basically an English
Oh.
type cheese.
Okay.
It's a hard
3
cheese.
holes. Why are
So
they?
it's time to get started. What have we got here?
We have 5 gallons of fresh milk.
What do we do with this?
First, we need to put it on the stove and we need to heat it up to about blood warm.
And how do you tell when you're at the right temperature?
Well, we use our finger, of course.
Okay.
But modern days, it's best always for a new cheesemaker to use a thermometer.
Okay.
So,
Well,
we're
yeah,
shooting
naturally.
80 degrees, right?
yes, we are.
Okay. So you're using raw milk here. Most people are not going to have access to raw milk. How can we use pasteurized milk to make cheese?
That's very easy. All you need to do is for every 5 gallons of your pasteurized milk, you're going to add 1 quart of cultured buttermilk. You have to add the good bacteria back in.
So what's happened with pasteurized milk is they've tried to kill off all the bacteria that's going on inside of the milk. And so we have to add some of those back in because
That's right.
we actually need them to make the cheese happen.
Bacteria is a good thing. It creates flavor and it makes the cheese come together.
But there's one more thing. Occasionally people have what they've got in their store is ultra pasteurized milk.
Ooh.
Tell me about that.
Ultra pasteurized is not good to use. That's very bad. And the ultra heat treated also, 2 types of pasteurization, is not good. It really will not make a cheese.
So it just won't work.
It just won't work.
Okay.
Don't
I'm
waste
actually
your
almost
money
tempted
on
to
it.
try that to see if it would work.
So rennet is a major component of what's happening with cheese. Obviously, it's pretty hard to make cheese without rennet, right?
It's hard to make an aged cheese without rennet.
Okay. What have we got here?
Well, what we have here is one of the ways that they would have had in the 19th century. This is the stomach lining of a calf,
Okay.
an unweaned calf. And so this is where you would get your rennet. You would cut a piece off about the size of a 50-cent piece,
Okay.
tie a string around it, and soak it in some water overnight. It's got the enzymes in it that are needed to coagulate the milk.
But today, what are we using?
Today we're using a commercial rennet. It is actually made in the same way. It's just far, far stronger than they were in the 19th century.
Interesting.
Now I'm going to add 1/4 of a cup of lukewarm water to the little mortar here. And then I'm going to measure in 1.5 teaspoons of our commercial rennet. Now we're going to add it to the milk in the pan that's come up to temperature. So now, John, I'm going to have you stir slowly and gently. I want you to stir up from the bottom and then in a figure 8. You're going to stir for about a minute. After you've stirred the whole minute, then I want you to hold the spoon steady in the middle, and it just stops the milk from moving. So now that we've got it stirred in and blended together, we're just going to let it rest. So we're going to cover it up with a cheese ladder and with a cloth.
This is
Slice can
very,
bring
very intriguing.
putrefaction
I'm
to
actually
your
learning a
cheese.
lot from this.
So calf stomach rennet isn't the only kind of rennet that's available in the 18th and 19th century, right?
No, no, there is a vegetable rennet that you can use. You can use
freaking
bed
vegan
straw,
rennet.
Ladies' bed
Damn it.
straw, nice flowering plant. And you
I knew there was going to be some sort of vegan catch to this.
In water, just like we soak the calf stomach, and you pour that in, and that's how your rennet works.
So how long do we need to leave this before we do the next stage?
It's going to stand about an hour and a half. It's going to take before it's all the way set.
So we've got this close to the fire. Do we need to heat this up, or does it just stay like this?
It needs to stay there and stay warm. You don't want it drafty. You don't want it to cool down too much.
Oh, didn't realize there was an ad in here. Okay.
Well,
All right.
John, I'm going to have you lift off the ladder and the cloth, and I'm going to test it for a clean break. So I'm going to stick the end of my finger in. I'm going to lift, and you see how that curd makes a nice straight line. So we're going to cut the curd. We use a nice long knife, and you just put it in, and we're going to cut it in
that's a
about
ruler.
1-inch cubes all the way down to the bottom. When you cut the curds, you're actually creating more surface area that more whey can come out. So at this point, what we want to do is separate the liquid part of the milk from the solid part of the milk.
Okay.
Always making sure you get all the way to the bottom. You can see the whey is already starting to quickly come out in all that surface area that we've created.
Those
So now we're
do
just
not
going to
look
cover
like
it back
cheese.
up with our ladder and the cloth to keep the flies out again. And we're going to let it rest another hour or hour and a half. Okay, this is looking real good, John.
Oh.
You can see that the curd has sunk way down. Look how much whey we've got on the top of the pan and the curd underneath. So now at this point, we're just going to put it back on the
that
stove
looks like mozzarella
and begin
cheese.
to heat it.
Good lord.
So you originally broke these up an hour and a half ago when you cut it up, but now you're even continuing to break these longer strips up.
So yes, we are breaking them up. As we stir, we're breaking each of the bigger pieces smaller and smaller as we go, and we'll continue to do that. And as we break it, it throws off even more whey. This is the stage when it's going to really start to throw off a lot of the liquid very fast. We're going to slowly heat it up to 100 degrees. At that point, it will have the
I'd almost be
proper
tempted
texture.
just to like eat
So
that.
unfortunately,
like, just
you
to
cannot
try it.
hurry the stage along. If you do heat it too quickly, you will actually form a skin on the curds, and it will not release the whey properly, so your cheese will be wet and it will not.
That is like mozzarella type cheese right there.
Okay, so then all we're going to do is keep dipping.
So it took you something like almost an hour of just sitting there breaking up these curds slowly this whole time. That is a lot of work.
Now we're going to pick it up by all four corners.
Okay.
Give it a twist and squeeze out as much as you can.
Oh boy.
Oof.
That's a lot.
So now we're just going to break it up, and we're going to put some salt in. About
That
2 to 3 tablespoons.
that is literally just a giant ball of mozzarella.
It's looking pretty good to
So
me.
you felt the texture of it. You said, okay, we've released enough whey as it is. Now it's time for the, what is this?
This is
What
we're
is
going to
that?
put it in the press. So
Oh, it's a
Yeah,
press.
Okay, and you pre-buttered?
I did.
Buttered this.
We buttered ours. Not all of them necessarily need to be buttered, but ours doesn't release real well without.
Okay, so it's just a helpful releasing.
So now all we're going to do is we're going to
Transfer the
begin
curds in?
crumbling,
As you
taking
go.
handfuls
Okay.
and crumbling it very evenly into the hoop.
Okay.
So then
It just looks
we
like
just fold
like
these
crumbled
over
up eggs.
smoothly as we can.
Like it
There's
looks
gonna
like
be some
scrambled
bunching,
eggs.
But when we take it out and
It
repress
doesn't even look like cheese.
then that will smooth that all out.
Now you've got this. Is it called a follower?
This is called a follower.
Okay.
That's correct. And that just fits, and you can see some of the waves starting to
all
come
the way is
out
already
already.
coming out.
Oh damn.
And this goes straight into our press. It's made specifically for this job.
It is. I fit this block under. Okay. And then,
I suppose you want to try to keep this nice and even, right?
yep. You see all that, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, look at all that
Ideally, we would
draining.
like that to be a little bit clearer,
Okay.
but
Because we're losing cheese, basically.
we're losing a little bit of the cream, so some of the richness of the cheese. So now we're going to let it sit, and actually, after a little while, it will kind of settle, and then we'll come back and retighten.
So it's right now it's under pressure, but it'll slowly lose that pressure and and then we'll tighten it up a little bit more.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep, and then we'll just leave it until tomorrow.
Really? Just leave it till tomorrow?
So this cheese is ready to come out. How long has it been in this press?
It's been in the press a couple days. It was taken out and flipped and repressed.
Okay.
And so now it's ready to come out. We're just gonna pry out the follower.
What is all that? Those look like bugs. Don't tell me those are bugs.
It should. All right now.
Oh, it swelled a little bit too much.
It is.
There we go.
Those look like bugs. Are those bugs?
Take off the bandage.
Oh, those are
Hold on
ants.
Carefully, so you don't tear the cheese itself.
Oh, those are ants.
There we go.
You are going to age this one, but is it okay to eat it right away?
Raw milk cheeses should be kept and aged a minimum of 60 days
Before they're eaten.
to make sure that the good bacteria have overpowered any bad bacteria that might have gotten in it.
But if you're using a pasteurized milk and buttermilk, it's probably okay if you were going to eat it earlier than that.
It's probably okay to eat as a green cheese.
Okay.
Huh.
Now I'm going to take the cheese and I'm going to put it in the cabinet. A little bit of salt that I've spread around on the
A
shelf.
little bit?
And
Holy crap.
I'm going to turn the bottom over to the top, and there it is.
So that's how you
Typically,
do
these
it.
cheeses are aged at
Oh,
least
wow.
for 60 days, right?
Yes.
That's like
60
Parmesan
days.
right there.
Do you
3
age
months.
them longer than that?
Absolutely you can. The longer you age them, the sharper they get. Sharper and
I
drier.
like cheese. I like sharp cheese. I don't know if I like it too dry, but how does the aging process go?
Well, just every day, once you put your cheese on the shelf, every day you're going to turn the cheeses and put them on a dry, salted spot on the shelf.
So we've got a finished cheese here. How
I
long
can
does it
imagine
take
all
this
the
one to-
salt you must go through
Oh,
trying to do that, though.
Probably at least 2-3 months.
You don't date them.
No, they're not dated.
Okay. Should we find out what they taste like?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
let's find out.
All right. Would you like to try a piece?
Yes, I would love to try a piece. So this has definitely got a very, actually, this isn't too dry. There's some dampness there.
It'll soften right up in your mouth.
This is a wonderful. It's a little salty than what you might compare to most cheeses today, depending on the cheese. So maybe the level of a
I still don't think that
Parmesan,
green
saltiness.
overcoat and that black top hat match.
It's a wonderful sharp flavor to it. Excellent cheese. How would they have typically used a cheese?
I can only
like
imagine how hot those
This
things must be,
kind of a
though.
cheese is a grating cheese, so you can make macaroni and cheese.
Okay.
Nice cheese soup. You can. There's all kinds of recipes for using receipts for
But this-
using cheese.
Many times it would have grated this. It wasn't
Yes.
necessarily a table cheese that you would have eaten as a course by itself or anything like that.
No, probably not. Not when it gets to this harder stage.
Okay. So I want to thank you, Deanna, for showing us this entire process and explaining everything there was to know about this 19th century farmer's cheese. So thank you so much for that.
I definitely enjoyed learning how to make cheese.
Anyone, if you're in this Western New York area, make sure to come to this site, this Genesee Country Village and Museum. It's an
Well, if I ever
living history site.
can afford to go to New York, that's definitely a place I'll visit.
Thank you for coming along with us today as we discover, as we learn about 19th century cheeses and all these wonderful flavors and the aromas of the 18th and early 19th century. I want to give a special thanks to all the folks at Genesee Country Village and Museum for all their help. Make sure to check out their website.
Alrighty. Well, that was definitely interesting. Well, guys, if you like that one, you know, hit the like button and share and the subscribe. And if you have any other videos by this person, I want to call him James, but I just don't. I would definitely love to react to more of his videos. I enjoyed the past 3 so far.